China and the U.S. together are responsible for 40% of total greenhouse gas emissions. I think the two countries are beginning to realize that climate change is an existential national security issue.
We have different political systems, different value systems, different core interests in the South China Sea. One could go on. We do happen to have, though, one very common interest, and that is the natural system in which we all live. God willing, we will come to recognize it.
One of them is this U.S.-China climate change working group that had two purposes. One, to bring together experts on about 7 or 8 different areas. That climate change working group had another feature, which was an enhanced dialogue on climate, which was like a behind-the-scenes track 2 discussions that were ongoing between the official climate negotiators on a regular basis.
We have the Clean Energy Research Centers that were a huge initiative of the Obama administration that now have all total had $150 million worth of joint research done between them. We have just so much that's been going on for a very long time.
What we found is that by 2050, China can increase its carbon productivity by 600% and its energy productivity by 1,100% compared to 2010 levels, and do so while it grows its economy 600% over that 40 years. Just for a little bit of perspective, the Industrial Revolution increased labor productivity 900% in the US in 120 years. So we're talking about more transformational change in a lot of ways than the Industrial Revolution in a shorter period of time.
There are a couple of other immediate steps that the U.S. and China can take that would have enormous impact. And all of these I'd just like to highlight beyond the climate Paris commitments were ones that the two countries have already agreed to work together on. And one of them is to work together under another international agreement, the Montreal Protocol, to reduce emissions of a super greenhouse gas called hydrofluorocarbons that is, hundreds of times more potent than CO2.
One thing that I'm finding a lot of hope in is the ongoing commitment between the U.S. and China to pursue city-level cooperation on climate issues. It sounds fairly basic, but that level of best practice sharing and even if it's a thin layer of accountability, the accountability that's associated with making these commitments in the presence of other city leaders and meeting annually to track them is encouraging.
I have heard from colleagues in the U.S. government not only that climate change is a bright spot, but climate change is the bright spot and perhaps the only bright spot in U.S.-China relations at the moment.